Oh.
Oh. Oh my.
Oh. It's this kind of game now, huh?
So that's what you're into.
Okay, Claude.
Days go by before I decide to leave the tavern again to watch Karma practice with the knights. These last few days I've felt hollow. Maybe seeing the normal practices will help me feel better. Maybe it will make things feel like nothing's changed. When I arrive at the forest, however, only Karma is standing in the clearing. He's staring through those trees as if he sees something there, but his expression is solemn, almost sad. Eventually he sighs, shaking his head before turning in my direction.
Oh, Elion.
I prepare myself for a response, but find that no words come to mind. I have not spoken to Karma since the talk about Mother and witches, and any of the ease I felt with him before has slipped away. Still, I came here on my own, and I cannot just stand here being mute. I say the first thing that comes to mind. Where are Jurian and Garland?
I'll only train with Garland. Jurian is on patrol duty tonight. He'll be here later. I just came early. It seems you did too. Elion, are you okay? I'm sorry I haven't been by to see you.
It is not as if you owe that to me.
I don't owe it to you, but I've truly wanted to. I've just been busy these last few days scouting the town for information. As much as I want you to come with me.
Why would you ever have wanted to pair up with someone like me anyway?
Why, Princess, that's because you're...
I am bitter and cold, and even though I want to change, all I can think about is myself. But now I want to change because I do not want to be the same as my mother. Isn't that selfish?
Maybe so, but I believe you're being selfish for the right reasons. An entirely selfless person can't survive in this world. Oh, Emmeline. Before we can make others happy, we must be happy ourselves.
Happy ourselves?
Yes, an angry person holds resentment towards everyone, and it mars whatever good deeds they seek to do.
That is why I cannot complete my good deeds.
Wrong. You've already got one done. Recognizing the need for change is always a good thing, Elion. Regardless of the motivation, you are trying to become a better person. That is what matters. Oh. Please stand. Please stand so close to me.
He takes a step toward me and then puts his hands on my shoulders and leans down until I can look right into his eyes. Karma's serious expression startles me as much as his touch.
It is never too late for anyone to change. You taught me that.
What? How could I have taught Karma anything?
Do you mind if I tell you a story, Elion?
He's standing too close. Step away.
Step away from the girl, dude.
I take a step away from him, and Karma's hands fall from my shoulders. He sighs out. The story better be just as dramatic as mine.
Thank you, Elion.
For what?
Karma will remember that. For agreeing to listen. And for what you just did.
Stepping away from him. Was I distracting him?
Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there lived a crown prince from a kingdom called Brugantia.
Oh my god.
What?
He's
Is it supposed to...
the crown prince.
Well, I mean, yes, I suppose I can see that, but like, is Brugantia supposed to mean something to me?
It's a neighboring kingdom. They mentioned it before.
Oh.
Brugantia is one of the neighboring kingdoms. So this isn't make-believe.
His name was Claude Idred Grinaldi Mateus Almonte.
Karma! Karma! Karma!
You know what? I can't blame him for using an acronym.
It's a really long name.
But because the name was such a mouthful, he settled for an acronym as a nickname. At least around the palace, but it was acceptable.
Claude Idric Karma.
Prince Claude was a man who flaunted his beauty and talents to all that he met. He often used his title to get what he wanted. Prince Claude was a selfish man who felt he was entitled to everything that he had. He was vain and often left his castle unattended so that he could avoid his responsibilities. Then one day, he chanced upon a beautiful maiden in the town square. He led her around the whole day, being as charming as he possibly could. Then at the end of the day, he asked the woman to be his lover. She agreed, but their time together did not last long. Only weeks later, Prince Claude threw her away as one throws away an object, and broke the woman's heart. And she cursed him. That beautiful maiden was a witch. Prince Claude found out too late. The witch said she would make his beauty, his vanity, a curse.
To make even beauty a curse.
Ashamed of being cursed, Prince Claude donned a disguise and left his kingdom behind. He has been gone for nearly a year now, and most probably assume he is dead. But in truth, the prince had come to Angiel seeking a way to break his curse. He had heard of a young lady named Elion, who on her 18th birthday could dispel any curse.
He knew us from the start.
They knew about us. Oh my god.
Was he flirting with us because he wanted us to break his curse then?
That's what I wonder. Oh man, that's sad if that's the case.
Karma. He looks so sad. I don't know how to comfort him. Claude. He cute. He blush.
Oh my. He read.
Karma. Claude turns a startling red as he stares at me, and for a few moments he does not speak. Then he bursts out laughing. I stare at him in shock, not understanding his reaction. I feel myself flush. Isn't that your real name?
No, darling, it is, but hearing you say my name, well, it sounds so much softer out of your lips. I rather like it.
My cheeks are warm again. How is it he's always able to make me feel this way? I will call you by that name if it makes you so happy.
Let's make it a secret between the two of us. I'm still Miss Karma here. Besides, I'd rather you kept that name for my ears only. It makes me feel more special that way.
More special. At that moment, Garland shows up for practice, and Claude politely excuses himself. I watch the two of them trade blows. Claude favors his other hand, but his blows still come quickly, even with his injury. The more Claude tells me, the more I realize that he's, like me, a noble cursed for being selfish. So, interesting similarities between her and the suitors.
Yeah, I noticed, like her and Rod both have similar personalities.
And her and Karma had similar backgrounds.
Similar backgrounds and similar
reasons
cursing
for being
like
cursed.
The same reason, sort of. So I'm wondering how the hell that's gonna fit with Rumpel, especially. I'm not too shocked. I mean, like the similarities between Fritz and Waltz, we'll see, but Rumpel, I'm like, I think partially because all we really know about his character right now is he's a fucking lunatic Casanova, and he doesn't have memories.
Yeah, he has amnesia.
He has amnesia, the dark descent.
But how do I help break his curse? Why can't he tell me? As practice is drawing to a close, Claude asks Garland the usual question.
Have you confessed to Julian yet?
Garland only shakes his head in reply. The two men sheath their swords. Garland looks almost sad as he turns to make his way back to the tavern. He likes her, and yet he won't say anything. Why is that frustrating me so much? Garland.
Yes, Princess.
Tell her! You have to tell her.
You have to say how you feel.
Claude told me before that confessing is hard, but what Garland is going through looks even harder.
Princess, you know I'm incapable.
No, you think you're incapable, but if you never say anything to her, you'll never know.
If I say something wrong, I risk losing everything that I already have with her.
And if you say nothing, you risk losing what you could have with her.
Ooh, Claude will remember that. Eliana's right. Maybe you should really tell her, Garland.
But before, Claude was adamant that Garland shouldn't confess to Jurian. What changed?
If I mess this up... let's try looking at it through another lens. Imagine that Jurian is Elion. How do you think she would like to be confessed to?
I frown at the two men, arms crossed. Excuse me?
Well, you and Jurian are very similar. You're both very straightforward. Confess to the princess!
My eyes move to Claude, but only fleetingly, before they are once again on Garland. You just need to do something simple, Garland. Something that will not rub her the wrong way.
A maiden's heart is ever so fragile, and each woman is different.
Claude is wearing an amused smile on his face, but he's looking at me, not Garland. I feel my face flush and have to look away.
Elion, you're tomato red again. It's adorable.
I cross my arms over my rapidly beating heart again and force a scowl on my face. No, I was just thinking about what Garland could do. Something simple. Like when Karma kissed my hand, Garland kissing Jurian's hand is probably not a good idea. Maybe he could do what Claude and I did that one day in town. He can buy her some food and they can just talk. Garland, have you ever asked Jurian out for food?
Not alone. Jurian is practical and she always eats at the tavern. She's always on duty if she's available. I'll take her patrol shift 2 nights from now then, and tomorrow you can ask her out for a meal. We can make you an invite, a grand affair. Oh, we can drape banners on the walls, or I could give you a rose. Claude, no.
Claude, no,
Claude.
no.
Claude,
no. Claude,
no! That sounds...
like a terrible idea.
I'm offended. I feel like if I did something like that for Jurian, she would get embarrassed and punch me. Maybe. Probably. Sounds like another lady that I know. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Claude grins at me, but I just roll my eyes. Garland, just ask her normally, and then when you're out and alone together, you can confess.
Do I look normal to you? I'm weird.
Have you seen my hat?
And we'll make sure you have the time to do it. I'll purposefully come late to practice tomorrow night so you can ask her out for that date. How does that sound? You two really think I can do this?
You just have to ask the question. Whatever follows will at least be an answer.
You just have to believe in the heart of the cards.
You've got to believe in the power of love.
Sailor Moon, anyone?
It gives meaning to each moment. It's what our hearts are all made of.
This is what dreams are made of. Oh wait, no.
You have to believe in the power of love.
Tomorrow night, then. Good man. I'm sure it will go swimmingly. Or I could drown.
You won't drown, Garland. Garland excuses himself with a nervous smile before Claude turns to me expectantly with a mischievous grin.
Now, Elion, we'll come here early tomorrow and spy on them. We'll need to scope out a good spot.
Spy on them?
Oh, Claude, no.
Claude, no.
Of course. We need to make sure that our efforts pay off. Don't you see my sparkles?
I don't think we should.
You don't want to see how it plays out?
I mutely shake my head, unable to put my emotions into words. For some reason, I'm imagining myself in Jorian's position. It feels too personal. Claude's likeliness suddenly springs to mind, and I feel my face grow hot again.
Leon, you've been oddly out of it today.
Claude reaches out a hand toward me and then abruptly pulls away. I stare as he smiles at me, almost sheepishly. The conversation between us dies, and we return to the Martian. Days passed, and though I did not spy on the conversation between Jorian and Garland, I noticed that Garland has been smiling from ear to ear during his practice with Claude recently. I can only assume that his confession went well. Claude took the patrol shift tonight, and as I lay in bed, I am restless. Every time I watch Claude practice with Jorian and Garland, I'm reminded of the palace, of Fritz. I wonder how Fritz is doing. Is he still practicing with the other knights? My thoughts darken as I recall the kidnappings. Claude had to save me every single time. He got injured saving me. Unable to sleep, I slip out of bed and make my way to the reception room. The night air is cool and no one stops me from standing just outside of the Martian. I cannot just sit back and do nothing anymore. I have to act. I do not want Claude to get hurt because of me again. Eventually, I see Claude approach. He looks tired and is moving more slowly than usual, but when he sees me, his lips quirk into a smile.
Leon, what are you doing out here tonight, love?
Oh, that's new!
Oh, that's new. That's a new one.
Love, instead of darling. That's new. Hello, Claude.
Oh, he's all red. He's all red.
His face is dark red again.
If you're using my real name, I suppose you've come to ask for something serious.
How could he know that? I do need to ask something of you.
Well, if you need a shoulder to cry on, I'm right here, love.
What?
Is this not about... never mind.
I'm asking if you will be my instructor. For some reason, I seem to have caught Claude off guard. He stares at me for a few moments.
What?
I want to learn how to use the sword, and I want you to be my instructor. Claude's expression becomes uncharacteristically serious.
I'd rather you didn't learn how to use a sword.
I do not want you to have to keep protecting me.
I don't mind protecting you.
I do. Claude sighs and shakes his head.
Princesses shouldn't be using swords.
I want to be able to stand on my own 2 feet.
You are. See? 1, 2 legs, standing, right there.
Claude, no.
Uh-huh.
I do not want you to get hurt again when I could do something about it. Teach me, please. Claude. Once again, he flushes. Aha, we found his weakness.
I will die.
It seems to be an instant reaction. It is both amusing and endearing.
It won't be easy.
I wasn't expecting it to be. Claude stares at me for a long time before finally letting out a heavy sigh.
Fine. I'll train you. You won't learn in a day, but I can teach you the essentials. You can use one of the knight's training swords.
Thank you.
Music to my ears. You need to be in the clearing in 10 minutes.
10 minutes? What?
You said you wanted to train, so we will. Don't expect me to go easy on you.
But aren't you tired? He looked exhausted when he came in, and now he wants to train?
Already trying to get out of training?
I am not. Claude shakes his head, but he's smiling.
I'll see you there in a few minutes, love.
Oh.
Love.
Oh.
Wow.
Moonlight spills through the trees, illuminating the forest with gentle light. Long minutes pass, and as I stand in the clearing, I begin to feel restless. It isn't like Claude to be late. Is he tending to his injury? I hear a rustling in the leaves and turn immediately to see what the disturbance is. But the minute I do, I'm pulled back by a strong force and my world goes dark.
Oh.
Before I can scream, I hear a gentle voice in my ears.
Lesson 1, Elion. When apprehended by an enemy that you can't see, remain calm and use your 5 senses to judge how best to get the upper hand.
This voice is coming from right behind me.
Oh
my.
It's this kind of game now, huh?
So that's what you're into. Claude.
Okay, Claude.
I become aware that this is the closest he's ever been to me, with my back pressed to his chest like this.
Panicking disorients the mind. That is why you must remain cool under any circumstance.
How could I not panic? Any normal person would panic. Still, I try to force myself to be calm.
Lesson 2. Enemies will often let down their guards when they think they have the upper hand. Catch your opponent off guard by remaining calm and locating this weakness with your senses.
I try to calm myself as Claude instructs, and I feel it is a bit easier, but only because I know it's Claude. An opening. I move as quickly as I can, stepping forward so that I can swing an elbow back into Claude's stomach. Before that happens, Claude has pulled me back to him, closing whatever distance I had put between us. In the process, he moves his hand from my eyes to my mouth. I can once again see the forest, but my words are muffled beneath his hand.
Another thing to remember, you won't always be able to catch your enemy off guard by throwing punches or hitting. Your opponent will usually always be stronger than you, Elion. Remember what I said about a weakness. Enemies will often let their guards down when they believe they are winning. Just like I have.
An opening? A thought occurs to me as I glance around me and then down at Karma's bandaged hand. Karma's bandaged hand is over my mouth. Is this an opportunity or a trick?
Bite him.
Bite him!
What will you do, Princess? What kind of tactic would remove you from my grasp?
I'm going to feel terrible about this, but I have to try. I try to shift my head to get enough space to bite down, and even Claude cannot hold me completely still as I squirm. Eventually, the hand over my mouth moves just enough for me to open my mouth, but I falter. I cannot bite the hand that I injured. Unable to do anything else, I mutely shake my head, and I hear Claude groan. In one swift motion, he pushes me down to the ground, pinning my hands by my head as he frowns at me.
You're not even going to try and find an opening.
I glare at him. I'm not going to bite your hand.
Bite my hand? I didn't even think of that, but now that I am, whoo!
But you made it obvious. You put your hand over my mouth.
I'd meant for you to try moving my hand. Pushing back a person's thumb usually causes their grip to loosen.
How was I supposed to know that?
The more you know, Claude, remember that. Experience is the best means of practice, as they say.
I have a complaint about that particular lesson, but I withhold it.
That was a pretty good attempt, love, but not good enough, I'm afraid.
I wasn't expecting you to come at me like that. I was expecting sword practice.
You weren't expecting a man to kidnap you in the alleyway, were you?
I glare up at him, unable to say anything because he's right.
You're oddly quiet.
It is hard to find an opening to hurt you when you're not really my enemy. He does not move, but continues to stare at me. His face is close to mine. Close enough to what exactly?
To kiss.
To smooch!
Elion, do you trust me to protect you?
That's not the point. I need to be able to protect myself.
Because you're planning on investigating the witches on your own?
No, I want to be able to protect myself because I do not want you getting hurt protecting me. Claude leans down and I can feel his hair at my cheek. For a few moments, everything slows to a stop, and all I can hear is my heartbeat and his slow breathing.
Once you set your mind to something, you don't let go, do you?
Claude pulls away from me before I can respond, and he's standing again, offering me a hand.
Let's get started with some sword work, then.
The pleasant smile is back on his face. I can never tell what he's thinking at times like these. What are you really like, Claude? Chapter 7, Thorny Rose.
Thorny Rose, huh?
When I return to the Martian later that night, my hands are scratched, and I think I might have bruises on my arms. Claude was not joking when he said he would not go easy on me. But he did compliment me more than once.
Elion, I've hit you quite a few times and you haven't uttered a single complaint. I'm impressive.
I'm impressive?
I'm pressing against you. Impressive.
Crying is for the weak. Reminds me of that one Powerpuff Girl episode where Bubbles is like, "Mercy's for the weak!"
Mercy is for the... Bubbles was hardcore
Bubbles
metal.
was hardcore. Though everyone should be sleeping, I notice that the light is still on at the tavern. I see Jurian and Garland up and at a table, speaking with each other and laughing. If Claude had come back with me, he would be happy to see this. You two are still up. They're not even surprised when they turn to face me.
Good days like this, even better when stretched. I haven't been off duty in a long time.
Did you both have a good time tonight?
It was great. Garland knows these little places in the town that I've never even heard of before.
I noticed that Jurian is more energetic than usual, her smile a little wider than normal. I wonder if she's drunk.
I'm going to get another drink.
Christ! Another drink! Garland leans in toward me, his voice hushed.
We already bought a replacement bottle when we were out today. We would never take anything from the Martian without money.
Right. Is Jurian drunk?
Oh no, Princess, tipsy. It's like a buzz, fades a lot quicker.
Oh. Garland and I watch Jurian as she refills her glass at the bar.
I have to thank you, Princess. I never would have asked her out if you and Kama hadn't insisted on it.
So you told her... Garland looks at me with a pleased smile. I'll take that as a yes.
She didn't really realize until much later. I just asked her out for food and she thought that's all it was.
Maybe Jurian really did need to be told bluntly. What,
Some people do.
What happened?
I told her?
And?
We talked and remembered old times.
He sounds like an old man.
And I held her hand.
Oh! You're so cute! I notice Garland flinch ever so slightly, but he's smiling. He looks pleased with himself.
And the night's not over yet, so...
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He trails off
Wink.
with a hopeful smile before he raises his eyebrows at me.
What about you and Karma?
What about us? I've asked him to train me.
Train? Princess, you've asked him to teach you how to use a sword. Oh, what's this? Our princess is going to pick up a sword.
Jurian returns to the table, but I'm too tired to properly join in the conversation. I should leave them to their conversation and head to bed. I need to get some rest if I want to start practicing at night. I excuse myself and head upstairs.